chapter. Welcome to all of our guests who are worshiping with us. Thank you so kindly on a day like today when we have so many of our members who are absent. Certainly want to welcome you in this place. Thank God for our members, those who are here to our pulpit staff, our officers. Luke the 10th chapter, very quickly. Luke the 10th chapter. Thank God for our choir and these musicians. Amen. Amen. That's in the New Testament, the third book. Amen. In the New Testament scripture, the Gospel of St. Luke. I'm going to the 10th chapter. Now begin reading at verse number 30. It says, and Jesus answering said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment and wounded him and departed, leaving him half dead. And by chance there came down a certain priest that way, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. And likewise a Levite, when he was at the place, came and looked on him and passed by on the other side. And likewise, a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion on him. Praise the Lord. And went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, and set him on his own beast, and brought him to an inn, and took care of him. Hallelujah. And on the morrow, when he departed, he took out 2 pence and gave them to the host, and said unto him, take care of him, and whatsoever thou spendest more, when I come again, I will repay thee. Which now of these 3 thinkest thou was neighbor unto him that fell among thieves? And he said, he that showed mercy on him. And then said Jesus unto him, go and do likewise. Verse 30 says, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves. Just want to talk about falling among thieves. All right. Falling among thieves. I want to say on the outset that when we see this term thieves in the text, that this is putting it lightly. As one that has studied criminal justice, we understand that that is a distinction between theft and robbery. Right. These were not just thieves, but they were robbers. And I've heard folks say that my house got robbed. Your house can't get robbed. Y'all ain't saying anything. The distinction between robbery and theft in a criminal description, in order for it to be robbery, somebody has to be present and then have to have been inflicted with fear. Amen, somebody. So if somebody took your pocketbook without you seeing them, that's theft. Y'all understand that? But if they put a gun to your head and say, give me your pocketbook, that's robbery. And I don't want you to miss this text, because it said the man had fallen among thieves, but the reality is, that's now, he fell among robbers. Thieves just steal stuff without you seeing. You understand that? You don't know anything and they done stole it and gone. Y'all ain't saying that. But anytime you get robbed, you don't never get robbed and not know you got robbed. Your house can't get robbed with you not being at home. You got to be there and somebody else to put some fear into you and take something from you in order for your house to get robbed. Understand that? But in our text, Jesus takes a great opportunity, as always, to answer a question by not just giving a simple answer, but by telling a story that makes the question and the answer both make more sense. Think about it. This man, the scripture said, who was a lawyer, stood up to tempt or to test Jesus, saying, Master, what can I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus asked him, you're a lawyer, what does the law say? How do you understand? How do you read what the law says? And he answered and said, the law says you got to love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, soul, and body, and you got to love your neighbor as yourself. And the scripture said, Jesus told him, you answered it just right. If you do that, you can live. But it said a lawyer was willing to justify himself, like most of us are. We look for a way to excuse ourselves and tell other folk what they ought to do. Y'all ain't saying that. We find it very easy to talk about what the church ought to be doing, what the preacher ought to be doing, and then act as if though all we have to do is stop by sometime. Y'all ain't saying that. Make sure you understand that we still almost here. But expect the preacher to run, jump, holler, and hoop and do dances. Y'all ain't saying that. Spin around when we want to. Expect that the church will be here as a place whenever we call for it. This man who was a lawyer, Bible said, wanted to justify himself. So he then asked Jesus a question, who then is my neighbor? Expecting that Jesus would give some geographical boundary. In other words, you live in Shantytown, you don't have to worry about seeing by folk who live in Lincoln Park. Y'all understand that? That wouldn't be considered your neighbor. This is what he wanted Jesus to do. Excuse him from having folk in Cantonment and Gonzales and just worry about folk who live in this subdivision. Y'all understand? He wanted a way. He wanted Jesus to be able to say, since you have Miss Sally down the road and since you've done something for one or two people, you're justified. He was willing to justify himself. Raised the question to Jesus. You understand, some of us like to just have to get technical. We like to say, well, really, y'all ain't saying that. The Bible said that I can do this, you understand. When we want to justify ourselves, we'll say, the Bible said, take a little wine for your stomach. Y'all ain't saying that. First off, it didn't say it to everybody. It said it to somebody who had a stomach problem, somebody whose stomach wouldn't hold enough wine to get drunk off of. Y'all ain't saying that. But we like to take the book and justify what we want to do and what we don't want to do.
That's right.
Amen.
I see folk do it all the time.
Oh, yes, sir.
Poor you have with the Bible say the poor you're going to have always. It didn't say that for you to help cause folk to be poor. It just meant that you'd always have an opportunity to help somebody. It just meant that there will always be somebody that you can do something for.
Amen. Amen.
We take the Bible and get the part that sounds good for us. Part that went good for all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. They have, and that's the problem. All sinned, and the result was they came short. Y'all ain't saying that. It's not like just all sinned and it was okay, it was hunky-dory. All have sinned and come short. But that means what God really intended for us to have and to experience, sin caused us to not have it and experience, which also says then there's a correlation. So then the more that we sin, the less we can experience the glory of God. Sin separates us from God. Sin causes us to displease offense against God. You cannot say, I love God, and continue to offend him. Nobody can do that in any relationship. Say that I love somebody and do the opposite of what that person wants. He wanted to justify himself. So he tries to trick Jesus into giving him an out. And some of us, when we talk to God, we think we can trick him. Lord, if you just give me this job. Lord, if you just help me this time. I promise the Lord, Lord, if you do this, I'll do that.
All right.
And you know that would work if God was like man.
All right.
But the Bible says he knows your thoughts from afar.
Amen.
And if you plot against God, God knew it before you plotted.
All right.
Y'all ain't saying no.
Amen.
He said, I know your thoughts from afar. He knows our heart. He knows our every thought.
Amen.
So even when you tell God the lie, he knew it was a lie before you told it. Y'all ain't saying no.
Amen.
Now, the Bible said that instead of Jesus giving him some boundaries, instead of saying your neighborhood, your local zip code, your local area code, Jesus simply told him a story. And I want to talk more about the story than I do the man. He said that there was a certain man that went down from Jerusalem to Jericho. And any time in the scripture when you see the term went down, normally that's just what it means. He went down, amen, from Jerusalem to Jericho. And I want to point out that Jerusalem was headquarters for the temple of God. It was where worship was centered in Jerusalem. But there were, the scripture gives, as many priests in Jericho at that time as there were nearly in Jerusalem. So oftentimes the priests had to go to do their business in Jerusalem and then return back home to Jericho. And it says that a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho. He was heading there, rather, and he fell among thieves. And I told you this ain't just regular, these ain't pickpocketers. Y'all ain't saying. These are bold, praising folk who would take from you while you're looking right at them, who would demand what you have. And the Bible said they didn't just write him a note like some bank robbers do. Y'all ain't saying that. But the scripture said they beat him. They stripped him of his raiment, and in other words, raiment, his clothes, what he was wearing. They beat him out his clothes. Y'all ain't saying that. They took his clothes and beat him and wounded him, and they left, leaving him half dead. This is very significant because sometimes there are folk in the society that we're in now who rob folk, and they rob simply because they are in need. They rob because they have habits that they're trying to keep or to feed, and they rob folk not because they're mean folk, but they see a means of being able to obtain what they want. They're not mean enough to strip you of your clothes. They're not mean enough to want you dead. They just want what you have. But in this instance, and in the route that was from Jericho to Jerusalem, as history gives, and even now we understand that that same route today is just as dangerous as it was back then some 2,000 years ago. That was still a dangerous place to travel by yourself. Amen, somebody. And there were thieves and robbers lurking who were hiding behind mountains and who were hiding in valleys and various places along this route, which was a 21-mile journey. And so there was many dangers along the way. It was not recommended that anybody travel alone, but best that you travel in packs. Y'all ain't saying sometimes you can get robbed when you're by yourself, but a joker ain't brave enough to rob too early. Y'all better get this. And this man who traveled alone, the Bible says, he fell among thieves. And I want to say this, he was going from one place to another. It wasn't coincidental, or it wasn't as if the man went there to be robbed. He was going somewhere, and on his way there, he was robbed. Some of us don't understand the tricks and the ploys of the devil. The devil's objective is to rob you. John 10:10 says, the thief come but for to kill, to steal, and to destroy. But I have come that you might have life, and that you might have it more abundantly. Note that when you're finding God, when you're seeking God and seeking Christ, typically you're going one direction, and when you're going in the opposite of that direction, you can just expect to fall among thieves, because the devil have already described his mission. He's already said, when giving account of himself, that he's walking to and fro, seeking whom he can devour. The objective of the devil is not to play footsies with you. It's not to tickle your fancy, but his objective is to kill, to steal, and to destroy. The only defense that we really have against the devil, the only person we have who can protect us from the devil, is the one who declared that the thief comes but for to kill, to steal, and to destroy. But I am come that you might have life. And I marvel at how even when things are going well, we turn from the one that comes that we might have life, and turn to the one that comes to kill, to steal, and to destroy. I don't know about you, but I enjoy life. I like the prospect of being able to have life and have it more abundantly. I just like the idea of having peace and joy. I love the idea of having comfort and having peace of mind. And I know that that only comes from God. The devil's objective is to put you in a place where he can wound you and leave you for dead.
All right.
Now it says they left him half dead. Now there's another term we have that says leaving folk far dead. In other words, rest assured they left him with the idea that what they had done was going to kill him.
All right.
And had not somebody came to his rescue, he would have died.
Amen.
You ought to be thankful for that. Had somebody not come to our rescue, we too would have died. And some of us, if we don't allow God to rescue us, we will in fact die. All of us going to die. Don't misunderstand that. But when I say die, we're going to die a death that's not pretty. We're going to die a death, and then in hell we're going to lift up our eyes. It's just best to allow him to come along and rescue you. Y'all ain't saying that. It's best for him to take you back out of the hand of the robber. Amen. Most times, our modern day society, sometimes you watch the news and they will announce if a murderer is on the loose. They will announce if someone had escaped from prison, give you identified markers, and then tell you to be on the lookout. Sometimes they'll tell you, do not approach this person. Y'all ain't saying that. Because they are armed and dangerous. And some of us, that's what I'm trying to tell you now, that there's a killer and a robber on the loose.
All right.
And he's armed and he's dangerous. To think for a moment that you can handle him by yourself. Don't deceive yourself. Amen. The scripture says you have to submit yourself therefore to God. Resist the devil and then he'll flee from you. Some people keep telling me, I went in the devil's camp. That sounds good in a song, but you run up in there, you want it. I went in the devil's camp, took back what he stole from me, and then I got him under my feet. Y'all ain't saying that. Under your feet, he upside your head. Y'all better get this. If you don't have God, if you don't operate under the advice and operate under the anointing and the power of God, you can't put the devil nowhere. Therefore, my devil get behind me. He is behind me, but if you're going backwards or standing still, he still got you.
Amen. Say that. Amen.
He fell among thieves.
Yeah, Lord.
And they stripped him of his clothes and wounded him and departed, leaving him half dead. Now here comes the lesson for us believers.
Yes.
Here's the lesson for those of us who didn't get robbed and stripped and beaten. It says by chance, it just so happened.
Yeah.
And there came down a certain priest that way. Indicative of the fact that there was another way you could have gotten there. Safer way.
Yeah.
But there came down a certain priest that way, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. Oh my. You ever been in church with folk who can speak good tongues, shout hallelujah on Sunday, and act like they don't see you on Monday? Y'all
Amen.
folk who can do all of this and then got called an ID. Y'all better get this. As soon as somebody needs them, they're nowhere to be found. They got all of the religion. They can say all of the right stuff. Too blessed to be stressed, blessed by them. Oh, they can say all the right stuff, but can't do nothing as pertaining to God. Listen, we are servants of the Most High God. We are ambassadors of God. And something about the relationship you have with God ought to give you a desire to do what some of this stuff God would do. It ought to make you want to bless folk. It ought to make you want to help folk. It ought to make you want to see about folk. But there came a priest. You know what a priest is, don't you? It's a preacher that's not our denomination. Y'all ain't saying that. There came that way a priest, a religious person, a person who preaches religion, a person who tells folk how to be saved, the person who tells folks about God. He came, the person who could, there are some folk who can say it real well, who can tell us some deep, heavy stuff. Y'all ain't saying that, but they're not going to get in the trenches. They're not going to do nothing. They're not going to give anybody a ride. They're not going to give anybody a hand. They're not going to pay anybody's bill. They're not going to do anything for anybody. They just can tell us what we ought to do.
Amen. All right. Say it. Come on, preacher. Yes, sir.
Sometimes we get so big in our jobs with God
My Lord.
until we are no good for God and anybody else.
All right.
We get so heavenly bound until we are no earthly good. If ever you're going to convince somebody that God is real, you got to demonstrate some godly characteristics.
Yes, sir.
You can't talk about the goodness of God and always look like you've been sucking sour lemons.
All right.
You can't talk about how you love God and can't speak to the people next door. Y'all ain't saying that. You just can't talk about how you love God and all you think about is me, myself, and I. You can't talk about your love for God and can't help your fellow man. The scripture says if a man say he loves God who he's never seen and hate his brother who he sees every day, he's a liar and the truth is not in him. In other words, it says, how can you love God who you never seen and hate your brother who you see every day? See, even though some of us are mean and evil-hearted, our nature, we was made in the image and the likeness of God. Y'all ain't saying that. So it's enough God in everybody. Y'all, even the worst of us, there's enough of God's nature for you to understand and to know that you still gotta love them. Y'all ain't saying you may not love what they do and where they go and how they act, but the fact that God made them and they come from God and are part of God, you got to love them.
Amen.
But the priest came and saw him and passed on the other side. Now, for the sake of argument, I'm going to be through in a minute. I'm just talking like this today. But for the sake of argument, we could give the priest a pass. Because perhaps he was thinking about the other laws of God. You know, in Numbers, the 19th chapter and the 16th verse, it said that they shall not touch any dead body. If any man man have been slain or wounded with the sword and killed in the open field or anywhere, that they were not to touch a deceased body or a corpse, else they too would be considered unclean. So perhaps this is what the priest was thinking about, and rather than check and confirm that the man was dead, he was perhaps trying to make sure that he was clean. Y'all ain't saying that. And some of us, that's just how we are. We like to just stay clean. So when we see trouble somewhere, instead of going and helping, we like to say, I ain't want no trouble. Y'all ain't saying that. I ain't want to get involved. It wasn't my business, so I just went on. Y'all ain't saying that. Rather than confirming that the man was dead, it didn't say you were unclean if you touch somebody that was almost dead and you saved them from dying. Y'all ain't saying that. So at some place, the line still has to be drawn. And I know all the time when they're teaching us first aid and when they're teaching us first responder skills, I've learned that first responder skills, when you run up on somebody that is down, you're supposed to come and identify yourself as a first responder. Ask them, may I help? And then you touch them and check for a pulse. But this says that they left the man half dead. If you're half dead, you're breathing. Y'all ain't saying that. If you're half dead, you wouldn't even necessarily have to check for a pulse. Y'all better get it. You can understand that there's still some life. But some folk go overboard with some stuff and then leave everything else undone. So he was going to be mindful not to touch an unclean person or to touch a dead person, but at the same time he was neglecting to try to save somebody that was dying. Some of us are just like that. Even in the church, we hear folks spreading gossip, and we know the whole truth. They won't even correct them, talking about, I ain't want to get in no mess. I didn't want to get involved. I like peace. Peace. You got gossip all around, ain't gonna be no peace. Y'all ain't saying that. If you're standing on what's right, ain't never nothing wrong with telling the truth. Ain't never nothing wrong with telling somebody that's not true. That's not true.
Amen. Amen.
The priest, the preacher, the Holy One, saw a man half dead and didn't just walk off, but he went on the other side and passed on by. Now it says, and likewise a Levite. These were the descendants of Abraham, whose job was to work the temple. This could have been any of us. Y'all ain't saying that. Sometimes we come to church and we figure that's all we're supposed to do.
Right.
And then when we reference the church, we always say they and them. Y'all ain't saying that. But if you're a member of a church, it ought to be we and us, not they and them. Y'all ain't saying that. You ought not be so detached until you feel like when you have to reference the church, you're talking about them. It ought to be us. Y'all ain't saying that. I don't ever reference grace and truth as they and them, because I feel like whatever that's going on, I'm a part of it. Not just because I'm the pastor, but because this is where I come. Y'all ain't saying that. You ought not just say they and them. That's why we have so many divisions in the church. You hear stuff, it's divisive off the top, talking about the pastor's aid. What do you mean the pastor's aid? You mean you got people in the church who wouldn't want to aid the pastor?
Right.
When you said the missionary board, the mission board, is not your church a mission?
All right.
Do you really think that you got to be real old and wear white dresses? Y'all ain't saying that to be able to help somebody?
All right.
So you're going to have a whole church and your whole dependence on seeing that folk is going to be put in the hand of 3 or 4, 7, 8-year-old ladies?
Amen.
You go out to the mission and go see somebody. The mission is who you need to be going to see. You in the church, that the church is the mission.
Make it plain, Pastor.
Lord just said, what should I do? Where you need me at? It ain't got to be somewhere where everybody can see what I'm doing. They always got to be about money. Y'all ain't saying that. Sometimes the cakes come out, we having such and such. Who can help serve and what you gonna buy? Maybe you can't buy nothing, but you can come and smile. Y'all ain't saying you can come and fan somebody and keep them from praying. You can come and hand somebody a fan. You can tell somebody it's gonna be all right. You can hug somebody. It don't cost you nothing for that.
All right.
The Levite, it's just religious folk who like to study the book, like to hear stuff, listen to that stuff, so that not so they can live it, but so they can talk it. Some of us just want to know the Bible so that when the next good Bible argument get it going, we can jump in. Y'all ain't saying. Some of us want to know it, but we don't want to live it. The scripture says, my God, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceed out of the mouth of God. Not so that you can spit it out or argue, but so that you can know how to govern yourself. Nobody reads a map just to study a map. You read a map to see how to go where you're trying to go. Y'all ain't saying that. Nobody just randomly reads a map. Let me look at this atlas and go to Philadelphia and see what that looks like. No, you don't do that unless you're trying to get somewhere. We want all the word. We can hear sermon after sermon and never apply to our lives and still stand in the same spot. I've told preachers who feel like God is displeased with them, I just got to do something. So I started reading some more. The problem is not whether you're reading enough or not. If you have not done nothing with what you already read, y'all ain't saying that. Reading some more ain't going to help you now. Y'all better get this. That's why when you're listening to a GPS, you know, not using a map, but a GPS, that's why they don't just tell you all of it at one time. You know what that would be like if I put the GPS in and told it to take me to New York Avenue in Oklahoma City or in Lawton, Oklahoma. You know what that would be like if the GPS just went to rambling all of it off at one time. Go down here on Highway 29 and go up here to I-10 and then get on 10 and go down here and go somewhere and then keep going down. That's what it's like when we hear God's word over and over and haven't done anything with what we've already heard. You don't get direction on top of direction or top of direction and haven't done anything.
Amen.
No recipe ever tells you you're trying to make a cake. No recipe ever says, you know, give you all the ingredients and just say dump it. Even sometimes you got all of this stuff. But if you don't put it in the right order,
All right.
you don't get the same results.
Amen.
Y'all ain't saying that. Most recipes don't tell you if you got 6 eggs, it don't tell you dump all 6 of them in there and start stirring, do it. It tell you beat 1 egg at a time. Somebody done made a cake. You understand? It tell you to beat 1 egg at a time. And then after you do that, you look back at the recipe and see what it said to do next. Y'all ain't saying that. But if you still ain't put the eggs in, why are you trying to see where to put the flour? We haven't even taken the initial steps that God has commanded for us. We haven't even believed in our heart. Y'all ain't saying that. We haven't even confessed our sins before Him. We have not even asked Him to come in and affect the change in our life. I keep telling you why it's not working. If you want God to change your situation and God wants to change you, if you allow Him to change you, your situation will change. But if God changed your situation, if He helped you get over Bobo, y'all ain't saying that. It's going to be a new Bobo just like him 2 weeks down the road.
All right.
Amen.
He has to change us. Else it would do no good to change the situation, because we are what caused the situation, and if we're not any better, we're going to keep having the same.
All right. All right.
Amen. That's right.
Levi came by
That's right.
and looked on him.
Yes, yes.
Now hear what I say. It said when the priest saw him, the priest wasn't looking and examining. He saw him laying down and went straightway to the other side. The Levi came, it says, and looked on him. then he passed on the other side. Now, before I get to what really helped the man, let me just say this. That there would have been nobody else to pass that way that would have owed the man help any more than the two that just passed him by.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're talking about what ought to be done and what people ought to do and what the church ought to do, but the church building won't do nothing for nobody. Y'all ain't saying that. The most this building can do is accommodate folk, you understand, because there are already pews in here so people can come and sit down. But even with that, somebody got to unlock the door. Y'all ain't saying that. Somebody have to put an air conditioner or heater on and turn on lights so that they can see and be comfortable. So the church itself can't do anything for anybody, but there's a responsibility from people inside the church. Now listen, the point I'm making here now is that if folk who say they got God, if folk who say they love God, if they're not going to help anybody, you cannot expect no help from nobody in the world.
All right, all right. Amen.
I don't, when trouble arises, I got better sense than to call on somebody who hadn't heard from God.
All right.
And that's not to say that they won't help you, but it's not expected of them.
Right.
Now, because they do have some good leagues, y'all ain't saying nothing far better than what we have. You understand that? They don't have a problem drinking out the same whiskey bottle. Y'all better get this. They don't have a problem passing the bottle or passing the joint. Y'all ain't saying that. And it never occurred to them, or they at that time ain't thinking about where your lip been. Y'all better get it. Oh, I know about joints. Y'all ain't saying that. They pass a joint from one lip to another.
All right.
I know about joints because I've got people already smoked a bunch of them and want one on somebody else's lip. But the winos, they don't have no problem passing a bottle.
All right.
And we come in here with communion and they're around here digging around trying to get one ain't nobody touch. Yeah. The folk in the church who are expected to help all passed the man by. Went on the other side. Now it said, but a certain Samaritan. I don't know what you know about Samaritans, but they were Jews, but they were half-bred Jews. They were mixed Jews, mixed with other nationalities. And to them, the Jews considered them as dogs. They considered them as animals. They considered them inferior. Just like sometimes, I don't understand how some folk can consider us as nothing, and we the ones that taught their children. Y'all ain't saying that. Folk who we had to cook for and feed, why they sent their children off to be doctors and lawyers, and everything they got in them come from Miss Mamie and them. Y'all ain't saying that. And then at the same time, they gonna tell you, you ain't nothing.
All right now.
Oh, mistreated folk that gotta cook their food for them. Them some mixed up folk. Y'all better get this before I have to say something.
Amen.
A certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came by where the man was. You talking about some help from somebody unexpected.
Yes, sir.
And this ain't to discredit the church, but sometimes our help don't come from folk in the church. It should have, but it did. Y'all ain't saying that. Sometimes folk out there can be more benevolent than folk in here. Y'all better get this. There are folk in here who got the mindset, I got mine, now you get yours. There are folk that come in the church who have the mindset, I've had to work for mine, now you work for yours.
Yeah.
But the Samaritan, the half-breed, the nobody, the dog, the unexpected source. The book said when he saw him, he had compassion on him.
Yes.
And you know, to have compassion, to look on folk and say, I feel sorry for him. And some of us, that's as far as we go, but compassion will move you beyond feeling sorry. Y'all ain't said that. Compassion will cause you to go in your pocket. Compassion will cause you to say, what can I do? Compassion will cause you to turn around and pick somebody up out of the heat and give them a ride. Compassion causes you to act. It don't just allow you to say, I feel sorry. Compassion, because the scriptures say God is a compassionate God. Because it said time and time that Jesus was moved with compassion. You can't convince me that you love God. You can't even convince me that you know God if you don't have no compassion. I've heard folks say, I don't feel sorry for nobody. Y'all better get this. And when I hear folks talking like that, then I already have decided and determined that there's absolutely no way they can have any ounce of God in them and not feel sorry for nobody.
Right.
This is what confuses me with folk who talk about being Republican and conservative. Or they supposed to have a patent on God. They supposed to have all the answers about God. The same God who said that people ought not be gay, that's the same God who said you ought to feed the hungry. So why put the emphasis on people being gay? Y'all ain't saying that. Instead of giving them something to eat, everybody got to eat whether they gay or straight. Y'all better get it and not worry about making sure folk got something to eat. These folk want to tell you that insurance companies don't have to pay birth control, don't have to give birth control, don't have to pay for abortion, and at the same time won't give you nothing to feed a baby.
All right now. All right.
And then they supposed to be Christian. They supposed to have the patent on God.
All right.
Yeah. The Samaritan had compassion on him and went to him. And he didn't just go over there and look at him and say, I feel sorry. He didn't go home, didn't say, I'll pray for you. But he said he went there and bound up his wound, wrapped him up, and poured oil and wine. They had to mess somebody up for real to my pouring wine. But poured in oil and wine. Then set him on his own beast. In other words, not the man who had fallen's beast, but he set him on his beast. In other words, you stop riding and put him up there and rode him, and you walked alongside to hold him on the beast. Y'all ain't saying that. And brought him to an inn, took him somewhere where he could sleep and recover. And it said, and took care of him.
Amen.
He went far beyond his call. He did what the first man that passed by should have done. He did what the second man that passed by should have done. But because he had compassion on him, the Bible said he took care of him. You understand that? In order, when folk have fallen among thieves, you know, you can administer what's necessary right there in the environment, but it's very important to get them out of that environment because those thieves may be gone, but it's some more right around you. Y'all understand that? And to leave the man laying there, even if you had given him anything or done anything for him, chances are he was going to get robbed again. Y'all understand that? I think the second robbers would have just been practicing, but the fact of the matter is the fact that he was still there, he stood test for the same thing happened. Some of us, we got loved ones who have fallen among thieves, and rather than getting them out of the environment, we leave them there talking about we sympathize, talking about we feel sorry, and talking about praying. God answers prayer, but God wants us to do some stuff. In the Bible it said there was a man that was paralyzed, and Jesus was in a set place and the house was full, and these four men brought their friend on his bed. They carried him and his cot to the place where Jesus was, and because the house was full they could not get in, and the scripture said they went up and tore off the roof and let him down in the roof, and the Bible says when Jesus saw their faith, he told the man,
Thank you.
your sins forgiven and to rise up. Sometimes the fact that you ask God something don't mean he see your faith. In order for him to see your faith, you got to ask him for something and then do the part that you can do.
Yeah.
In other words, you can't heal nobody, but you can put a band-aid on them. Y'all ain't saying that. You can't deliver them, but you can carry them somewhere. You can get them out of the environment. Sometimes we put it in God's hand. Come on, I'm just going to put it in God's hand. That's where it was all the time. But the fact of the matter is, God put it in your hand. That's why you passed by. It said the thief passed, the Levite passed by, the priest passed by, and a Samaritan came by. That's why it's all God put it in your hand, and you decide just to simply put it in God's hand, then you've done nothing with it.
All right. All right.
You all understand that?
Amen.
But the Samaritan who was expected to do nothing, I ain't going nowhere. Samaritan who was expected to do nothing came by and had compassion on him. Using his own resources. See, some of us don't mind helping folk as long as we can use something that belongs to somebody else. Y'all understand? I had your money, but I was helping somebody. Somebody else needed me. We ain't gonna help nobody with our resources, but we'll help them with somebody else's resources. We make excuses and we'll use something that belongs to somebody else, but not something that belongs to us. And Lord God wants somebody who's willing to sacrifice, somebody who's willing to give up something that they want. Y'all ain't saying that. I'm not talking about let somebody have a skirt that you can't get in no more. You giving somebody a size 12 and you wear 16. That ain't no sacrifice. You give them a 16. Y'all ain't saying that.
Amen.
On the morrow, it says when he departed, he took out 2 pence and gave them to the host or the innkeeper and said to him, take care of him. Whatever more it costs, or more than this 2 pence. When I come again, I'll pay it for you. And then Jesus raised the question to the lawyer and said, which now of these 3, thank you, was the neighbor to him that fell among the thieves? And it wasn't a matter of which one of these was the closest. But essentially what he's saying is, which one of these would you have wanted for a neighbor if you had fallen? Otherwise, when he said, love your neighbor as yourself, that means I'm not going to see myself hungry. I love me too much for that. Y'all ain't saying that. I'm not going to see myself outdoors because I love me too much for that. So if he said, love your neighbor as you do yourself, get the same consideration. I'm not saying you got to go around paying people's rent, but you ought to be able to help somebody. Y'all ain't saying that. You ought to be able to give a helping hand to somebody. Those of us who expect God to really help us, those of us who expect God, no matter how we've messed up and done wrong, to come to our rescue, we ought to be willing to help somebody.
Amen.
Says, if you forgive men of their trespasses, the Heavenly Father will forgive you of yours. If you bless men, the Heavenly Father will bless you. Y'all ain't saying. Now listen, I want to say this. He said on the morrow, whatever, when he left, he said, take care of the man for me. I don't accept the responsibility. You got all these programs to teach one, reach one. Y'all ain't saying that. Some of us can boast about how long we've been in the church and we can't point to nobody we brought to the Lord. We can't point to not one person we brought to church. Y'all ain't saying that. We can't point to nobody who we helped made to be better because they knew us than what they were. Took his own resources. Said, see by it. Now, when you think about our loyalties, there's our ways of life, who we hang with, who we run with, our ride or die. Y'all ain't saying that. Our besties, our BFFs, when we think about the people we run with as opposed to the people that we see about.
My Lord.
The reality is that person who claimed to have your back, that person who with you through thick and thin, sometimes are the hardest to find when things get rough. Sometimes you ever thought somebody was on your side and found out you were walking by yourself? And then in your mind you thought that this person of all people is going to be there no matter what happens to them. And sometimes it's God and sometimes it's the people, but sometimes God will position you where your ride or die can't help you. Sometimes He'll position you where your BFF and your bestie cannot get to you. And sometimes He'll position you and allow you to fall among thieves. And we ought to be mindful that we know where we are today, but we don't know where we're going to be on tomorrow. Why, everything might look good right now. Yeah, but everybody is subject to a fall. And thank God that when the world has become a den of thieves and robbed us, when all of us and all of mankind have fallen in the hands of the devil, and man looked at everything and everybody but God. But thank God for being a loving God. When the preachers couldn't help, thank God for being a loving God. You can't say that God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever would believe on Him would not perish, but have everlasting life. God sent not His Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through Him might be saved. Some of us started out good, raised up in the church, even sang in the choir, but somewhere along the course we fell among the thieves. I come to tell you that the world don't mean you no good. Thieves and robbers don't come and play with you, but they want to take you for all you have. Not just your money, not just your house and your car, but the devil's objective is to steal your joy. His objective is to steal your faith. Because without faith and without joy, you won't find your way to God. And the more the devil takes from you, the further down you fall. I thank God that I have fallen among the thieves. But I thank God along came Jesus. Everybody here know Him. Well, Jesus will pick you up if you have to reach way down. No matter what you lost, no matter what they've done, He's able. I know He's able. He's able. When the problem life have got you down, when the devil has stolen your joy, thank God for Jesus. Jesus will restore your joy. Jesus will pick you up. He'll warm you up. He'll heal you. He'll heal the blood. He'll heal up. Everybody hear me down. Let me pick you up. Everybody here, show your sickness. Let God come in. Able. If you know He's able, you ought to be a witness here. I'm not big God, but I got God. Thank God for Jesus. He will. He'll pick you up. He'll lift your burden. I know He's able, but I didn't have a job. He came on here. Ain't God able? Ain't God without fail? Won't He give you a place to stay? Ain't God a good God? He's able. I know He's a good